Hey guys, so I hope you're enjoying the lead up or have been enjoying the lead up to our poetry writing. I think the most important thing about poetry is that you are passionate about it and you enjoy writing it and you enjoy reading it out loud because it's a real expression of you. And it's a chance for you to really play around with language and kind of make your own rules a little bit as well. So let's get straight onto it. So our challenge is to read the example carefully and then add more of our own 3-line verses following the same pattern. Second one's been started for us. It's we need to make sure we end each line with a comma. We end each verse with a full stop. A verse is a group of lines like this, also known as a stanza. So our stanzas end with a full stop. We need to make sure we use a range of figurative language. Metaphor is when you say something is something it isn't. So you might say, the moon, glowing disc in the sky. It's not a glowing disc in the sky. A metaphor is when you say it is something, which it isn't. A simile is when you say something is like or as something. So you might say someone is as fast as a cheetah. Personification, you give something which isn't human, human characteristics or person, characteristics of a person, like the wind. The wind whistled through the trees. Only people whistle. So we're giving it the features of a person. Alliteration, same sound at the start of 2 different words. For instance, slimy snakes. And hyperbole is when you really exaggerate something for effect to make it seem more like, for instance, I haven't had a bath in years. Obviously you have, you're exaggerating. We need to make sure we use descriptive prepositional phrases. For instance, I drift above a busy world. Preposition there is above, and it's descriptive. Show, not tell sentences. For instance, with tears welling in their eyes, we know that someone's sad just from knowing that. We don't need to say they were sad. And our challenge is to use repetition, some rhyme and rhythm to add atmosphere to our poem. So you'll notice it says follow this pattern. So the good thing about following this pattern is it will create its own natural rhythm. So it'll be good. We'll be able to meet the challenge fairly easily. So I notice each line, first line starts with I. I drift above a busy world. Second one, I hover over noisy streets. The second line always starts with and it adds a bit more detail. So on the second line of this one, it says, and watch the frantic lights of ant-sized cars. Nice compound adjective there. I'm going to say, I hover over noisy streets, and here I'm going to really use my imagination. What are the cars like? I'm going to say, oh, it's a nice simile. And here, the traffic, traffic, good alliteration, traffic, not trundle, is when you make a loud noise when you're moving. The traffic trundle by, and a simile. What's the traffic like? Well, I'm thinking of Jumanji. It's like a stampede of elephants, like a stampede of elephants. Now I need to end my line with a comma. That person should actually have ended that line with a comma to follow our success criteria 1. And here the traffic trundle by like a stampede of elephants. Now, the last line adds a bit more information and it tends to start with a verb, a doing word. So let's make sure all our third lines start with a verb, a doing word. So I'm going to go pausing never, because they never pause, pausing never to gaze at me on my. Now, I like the idea of thinking about the sky as like a huge canvas for a painting. And one good word, what color is the sky? It's blue, but I want to use a bit of alliteration and a good descriptive word. So I'm going to go for cobalt blue. So pausing never to gaze at me on my cobalt canvas. What do I need at the end of my stanza? A full stop. I'm going to skip a line. Now, it always starts with I. What else does this cloud do? I'm going to say, I float silently past my, what would I call my clouds around me? I'm going to say fluffy friends, alliteration. I float silently past my fluffy friends. No, I'm going to use a simile again, like ships in the night. Now they say, there's a saying that we pass each other like ships in the night. They're things that go past each other but never actually really see each other. So maybe that makes him feel a bit lonely. So I'm going to say, for my next line, I'm going to go, and am so alone, yet connected, because they are connected, because actually clouds spend a lot of time they actually join together for a lot of time and then they drift off into smaller clouds, a bit like icebergs. So I float silently past my fluffy friends like ships in the night, and I'm so alone, yet connected to my, what am I going to call the other clouds? I'm going to call them my fellow wispy wanderers. So a wanderer is someone who moves around like a cloud. Wispy is, now I'm going to check my spelling of wispy. I think it's like that. It could be wispy like that, actually. I'm going to check that one. To my fellow wispy wanderers. And I'm going to finish with my last line, which is like my reflection. I could use a verb. I'm going to go for teetering, always on the brink of a shower of tears. Joyful and happy. Because clouds are interesting, aren't they? Because they cause a lot of, because they, you know, we like the rain. The rain is a positive thing, but it can also cause destruction as well. Also, he seems happy, but also a bit lonely. So maybe he has mixed emotions. Need to start my last stanza. Well, the one I might make this a bit longer, but this is just for my model for you. I needs to start with, I'm going to talk about how sometimes they last a long time and sometimes they don't last a very long time. So I'm going to say, I will sometimes last mere moments. Sometimes last mere moments, yet always return. And that's my preposition. Look, there's a preposition in the first one here. Above, hover, past, float past. Will sometimes last mere moments, yet always return. I've got my preposition in there. Yet always return. Need to start this line with and. I'm going to say, because they're part of the water cycle, I'm going to say, and never break my water cycle goes on and on and on forever. What's the best word I can think of for that? Immortal. My immortal water cycle. Now, what verb am I going to go for? What does the water cycle do? The earth's thirsty and the clouds feed them with rain. So I'm going to go for quenching. I love that word. Quenching the earth's thirst. But that's not all they do, because they also cause destruction. I'm going to go for quenching the earth's thirst, then causing chaos with floods. Going to give you 5 seconds to think what feature I use there. Causing chaos, alliteration. Now I'm going to practice reading my whole poem with intonation, volume, and movement. I want you to decide whether you think I've met each objective. I drift above a busy world and watch the frantic lights of ant-sized cars carve the darkness into jagged shapes. I hover over noisy streets and hear the traffic trundle by like a stampede of elephants, pausing never to gaze at me on my cobalt canvas. I float silently past my fluffy friends like ships in the night, and I'm so alone, yet connected to my fellow wispy wanderers. Teetering always on the brink of a shower of tears, joyful and happy. I will sometimes last mere moments, yet always return, and never break my immortal water cycle, quenching the earth's thirst, then causing chaos with floods. And I like that. You don't have to end your lines with rhyme. Sometimes there's a little rhyme within a line. So quenching the earth's thirst. Earth's thirst. It's kind of a rhyming sound within the line. Quite happy with that. Really looking forward to hearing yours, guys. Have fun.